Hello, everyone, and welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 121. We're back on another Monday, and we're here to talk about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I am joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Good, good. Happy Monday. Happy tired Monday, as we both commented.
Yeah.
Still here, still kicking, starting the week
Yep.
off.
hmm You're wearing your Packers hoodie. They won, did they not?
They did. They squeaked it out against the Bucks.
Okay. What's
Uh,
uh what's maybe etiquette is not maybe I need to maybe I should have said that. Maybe some people have it DVR'd yet and don't know the results.
oh, whoopsie. Well,
Maybe.
spoilers for football. I mean, which is
Yeah.
hardly ever a thing on this show. But if you're a
Yeah.
football fan and didn't get to watch yesterday, spoilers. And I'm gonna spoiler some more because both of our teams that we're repping here today. I'm telling you, you're repping the Vikings because you have purple on.
Sure. Yeah.
Both of our teams squeaked it out in very, very narrow and possibly deserved, possibly undeserved victories. I'm not
Wha-
quite sure about that.
What's this going on? What's this
I
drama? You got some
mean,
bad calls going on? Is it what
no, not
tell
some
me?
bad calls, just some like not so great playing. Like some really great plays and then some just like fell down and got lucky kind of things, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that's what
So
happens to me. That's an anime thing. You fall down and get lucky. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's good. I did hear a little bit about the Vikings
Mhm.
game, just that it was a close one, so exciting, I'm
Yes.
sure, to watch. Mhm.
Yes, both teams just squeaked out the V, squeaked out the W.
Mhm. Mhm. So what goes along well with football? Drinks.
In particular, beer.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Starting it off, celebrating our first holiday week, which is still going on September 17th to October 3rd. It is still Oktoberfest. So, got my Stein out and everything. I'm drinking Warsteiner. Oops, this
Okay,
way,
cool.
this way, this
Nice.
way.
Going with the German, yep. Mhm.
So, repping
Perfect.
all the way. Yep, trying to get that Oktoberfest celebration in there. And perfect because it goes with football.
Yeah. Awesome.
So cheers to that.
Yeah,
But
cheers.
if you're in the mood for something else, September 20th is quite different. It was National Rum Punch Day.
All right. Yeah, I actually coincidentally this worked out really well for me sort of to do rum punch.
Okay.
Um it's not what I anticipated, so I'm using my Targaryen glass again.
Nice.
And you notice I have a large straw with
You
this and
do.
a number of things in here.
Yes.
So,
Tell us about
mhm.
your like fruity plethora of floaty things.
Yeah. So I had to be elsewhere today, and part of that elsewhere managed to include me getting some boba. So
Oh, okay.
there's this different place I'd never been. It's called Vivi Bubble Tea. And I got their just signature fruit tea, which I thought, okay, this must be your best foot forward. I will have this one. And I
Mhm.
said no sugar, no added sugar to it, less ice.
Mhm.
And what I got was yummy. I'll say yummy, but so sweet. I just
I was gonna say,
couldn't.
I'm guessing not what you ordered though.
Just such a sugar bomb. I couldn't believe it. So I only managed to drink like half of it or something.
Okay.
And I thought, well, what this needs probably is some alcohol. So saw the rum punch thing on there. So the alcohol in here now is rum. So I've just remixed it. It's a rummy, fruity boba drink now. So
Punch can mean so many different things. There's a wide umbrella that punch covers. So, I mean, if you call it a punch, isn't it one?
yeah, I mean, absolutely.
So there you go. You made one. You made your own yet again, going off script. You just kind of make up the rules as you go along.
Yep. Yep.
Those are two main ones that fall within this week. Although I did sneak in tomorrow is National Crush a Can Day.
Okay.
Mostly added that just because I like Crush a Can Day. I like saying
Uh-huh.
it. So
I was intending initially to have that one,
okay,
to do that one.
okay.
But yeah, this
Yeah, this
this
just
sort
kind of
of
fell
fell in
in
my
your
lap
lap.
now. Mhm.
Oh boy,
Yep.
wow. Same mind there. Well,
But I
cheers.
have
Cheers to your rummy punch thing.
yeah, yeah. Cheers. So sorry for the weird like jumping at things. I noticed a place that I could make a dirty innuendo. I thought it's too early to go there, so I moved straight on to the drink stuff before telling people what's going to happen on the podcast.
Sure.
Before I share my one other drink thing,
Okay.
I will do that. We'll get the wrap up the house cleaning stuff out of the way. So if you're new here, please subscribe, like, share, all those sorts of things. That'd be much appreciated. We're a weekly podcast, so you can expect regular stuff from us. On tonight's episode, we're going to be covering House of the Dragon, the latest episode that just aired last night, episode 6. So we'll be getting spoilery about that later. Before that, we'll have a webtoon that we're covering. So just one this week. It's Solo Leveling. We're still working our way through that. And then before that, we've got some news stories, some fun anime related stuff to talk about, and we'll go for our weeks a little bit. But but I have something that I talked about on the podcast a while back, and finally the day has arrived. I have
Okay.
received my James Gin.
Ooh, nice.
So it's my
Have
James
you
Gin from James May. It is still sealed. It
okay,
arrived
all
this
right.
morning. So James Gin, Asian parsnip is the flavor.
Okay.
Um, a gin by James May, product of the UK. Batch 002.
Wow.
Um, yeah, foreigners version. It says there's a label
Oh,
foreigners version. What is that mean? What does that mean? Um, Anyways, it's the Navy strength version. So, to my understanding with that, again, is that if you're on ship and you're hauling this gin and something goes awry, as it may, you get this gin in the gunpowder. It's strong enough to not mess up the gunpowder. You're not ruining the gunpowder here. So,
okay.
because it is 57%.
Ooh.
It's a 57% spirit. So, yeah. So I'm gonna open it and um,
Oh, live. It's
give
like
it
an
a taste.
unboxing.
I know. Try not to stab myself. Good starter for unboxings.
Yeah, it looks like Foreigners
My
Edition is just like the edition that's available in other countries.
Yeah, it's
I
just
don't know if it
probably
means it's like
distributed.
yeah, I don't think it means it's actually like different. It doesn't seem like it is, but
Mhm.
I mean,
Just
obviously I
trying to
can't say it
single us
either.
out. What the heck?
Yep. Yep.
Just, unfortunately, my audio like noise reduction thing will probably clear out the satisfying pop of the top, but we'll see without spilling it.
Oh, I
Nothing?
heard it.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Alright.
mean, it was kind of like you know those sound effects of like water droplets like plinking on a surface? That's
Yeah.
kind of what it sounded
Mhm.
like more than like a cork coming undone. But whatever.
Okay.
I mean,
It's a
it was
good
something.
pour. I like the edge on this. It, leaves no mess. So, unfortunately, it does not appear to be real cork fill. Um,
I was just gonna
so
say Phil will be so disappointed.
mhm. Alright. Let's see how this is. Pretty ooh, that definitely I definitely get the pine.
Okay.
Wow. That's got a lot of
Good?
flavor.
Bad? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it is
pine flavor?
exceedingly strong.
Can you tell the parsnip flavor?
You really you really don't taste the pine, you smell the pine. So I enjoy that. That's a pleasant aroma, but it doesn't
Mhm.
taste like pine. It does taste I don't know what I call, you know, honestly, I was watching the video that James May was talking about it, he was kind of alluding to like Asian parsnip science sounds kind of exotic, so we're going with that. So I don't, but yeah, it's good. It
Good.
is good, but it it's strong. So, anyways, yes, that's James Gin Navy
Nice.
Strength. Will be pacing myself with that tonight. So, anyways, yeah,
Shoot it, shoot it. What?
yeah. Cheers. Oh, I'll share to James Bacon. All right. So onward and upward. Andrea, how's your week been?
Been good. It's been insanely busy as far as consuming shows has gone. I mean, obviously, I read Solo Leveling and I've watched House of the Dragon for tonight's episode. But I also did a few other things. I continued Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which I'm really enjoying. I haven't gone breakneck through that, even though I feel like it would be very easy to, trying to
Yeah.
slow down and pace myself. So this week I gave myself like 2 episodes, and that felt good enough for me, especially with like the other things that I wanted to watch. So,
Hmm.
but I highly recommend it. It's amazing. As I mean, you're watching it, so don't need to
Yeah. Yeah.
convince you.
I went 4 through 7 while Rana. I watched
Hmm.
that one as well. And same kind of thing. Like, Ashley and I are watching it together. So that automatically keeps us a little bit slower rate. But
Hmm.
then, yeah, it's just been nice. And it's only gotten better. Like
Yeah.
I have my biggest complaint, I think, comes in episode 2, and it's
Mm.
definitely the one thing that stood out as, like, I really didn't enjoy that moment, but otherwise, I'm up through 7 and really liking it. I'm concerned with, like, choices characters are making, but it has me invested, so
Sure. Are you concerned with choices characters are making in the sense of like you're worried for the character or you're worried for the show?
word for
Do you
the
know what I mean?
character. Yeah. I
Okay.
just like,
Okay.
I don't wanna see these characters go through this or have this happen to them or make
Sure.
this
Yeah.
choice, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah. Um It's I still love how much it's probably a fine line to walk, that you don't wanna have it be exactly like the game, but this really it still is doing such a good job of having things and characters and stuff that are in the game in this and mentioned and whatever, and this is the kind of synergy I want between products in different mediums. They take place in the same world, they contribute to one another, they're both like canon. They encourage others to consume the other one. And we'll get into that a
Hmm.
little bit more later. But yeah, I'm just like continually impressed with, how well it feels in that same world as the game. So
Yeah, I can't speak terribly much to that, having played but a blip of Cyberpunk 2077, but I enjoy the show and I love that it's drawing people to play the game
yeah.
because I mean, I I mean, I know we talked about it extensively on the show before, but obviously I think that 2077 had some deserved and some undeserved struggles. I mean, they released it, it was buggy, it was tough for people to play, which is like legitimate concerns, but also when they fixed a lot of things, people just weren't immediately invested in going back, and that was a really kind of a shame.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
glad it's getting second life here.
we're hijacking your week here, but we might as well just talk
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
okay. I
Otherwise, we're
mean,
gonna
right.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I understand people. CDPR was not always on the up and up. They made some really bad decisions. A lot of this stuff, it's not like, oh, oops, sorry, we did everything we could kind of thing. It was like, no, you put yourselves in this situation. So that really is too bad. And I understand if someone wants to be like, you're we don't respect what you did, and therefore we're not going to play your game. Like,
Right.
that's fine to me. But nonetheless, I play the game even in a broken state and love the hell out of it. And so yeah, and other people, like, they needed that break. They needed that break to kind of forget about it and to calm down, to,
Right. Hit that refresh and restart kind of button where everybody's
yeah.
like, "Oh, right, yeah," without all
Hmm.
like the negativity attached to it.
And so this anime hit at just the right time because they didn't really have, major, story DLC and such locked and loaded. So this brought people back, and IGN has the story right now that just confirming further the resurgence of the game Cyberpunk 2077. Um, the last update as of the 22nd on this, CDPR said that there was at least a million people played the game each day of the week.
Is
So
impressive.
yeah, so it's really doing well. It's exciting to see. And again, online, the Twitter accounts and stuff are saying, "Hey, you want revenge on this certain character from the show? Make sure you hop into the game." That kind of
Smart.
thing. Yeah, and there's items in the game now that are from the anime as well. So
Oh,
there's
sure.
like a gun and a jacket. I think probably the main jacket you got to do some extra quest or something for to unlock. So again, this is the kind of thing that makes sense. This is why, like, a game like Marvel's Avengers should never fail. Some of the biggest properties on the planet, some of the biggest movies on the planet, that game should no way fail. And they should only feed off of one another in that way, boost each other up. So, yeah, more of this, please.
Yeah. Well, and more of this done well. I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, this would be the outcome. I mean, without the hiccup at first for the game. Obviously,
Mhm.
you'd want a successful
Yeah.
release, and then kind of maybe have it fade from the public consciousness, and then, oh yeah, let's bring it back, let's revive it with this anime, and everybody's like, oh right, I forgot about that. It's great. Um, and yeah, I mean, obviously, in an ideal world, you'd have like a movie or TV show or whatever, and a game that could like work together, feed off each other, play into one another, like you said. Some of the stuff from the TV show is now available in the game. That's really smart, like thinking, smart marketing. Um, but yeah, I mean, that has to that has to go along with good execution on both
Yeah.
ends, and like a commitment to making a great product, whether it be the show or the game.
Yep.
So yeah, ideally that would work for everything, but this is an example if anybody's looking of how to do it right,
Yep.
or at
There's
least how to
one
do your
thing
second chance right.
There's one thing I'm looking for in this show that I have not yet seen through episode 7,
Okay.
and I will be sad if I don't get it. You'll
Okay.
notice if you watch the anime, there's lots of ads and stuff for products and things
Yeah.
in the world, like real water. There's one that I've seen in the show, and that's in the game. So there's similar ads and stuff. There's like a soda in the game, and
Okay.
the slogan is taste the love, and it's kind of like corny, kind of Japanese sort of vibe. It's cartoony or whatever, and the you know person advertising it just says taste the love. And
Oh boy.
so that ad needs to be in this game or in the anime. So
If not,
uh,
apparently you could put it in yourself, John. That was hilarious.
yeah, I guess.
I have no idea what the voice is, but I feel like in my head you nailed it.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, so a little detour on Cyberpunk Edgerunners talk, but I mean, it's like I said, highly recommend it. You highly recommend it. Definitely everybody should go to Netflix and check it out. Other things that I checked out this week, some things for the first time and some repeats. I checked out two new shows, just the first episodes to kind of like dip my toe in. We had been talking last time about the recently passed Batman Day and how HBO Max had a whole collection of, Batman and Batman related shows that they were offering and kind of like a whole themed page. Um, and we mentioned the show Pennyworth, which is like the origins of, Alfred, um, Bruce Wayne's butler. So I decided to go and make good on my word and check the first episode of that out. Um, it is interesting. It's definitely one that seems well put together, very solid, but the first episode wouldn't necessarily grab you. Like
Okay.
it's not like fast paced, it's not constant action, it's not like moving plot to plot to plot. Um in fact, the pace is actually kind of slow,
Hmm.
which I could appreciate, but it's also a really long episode. So it did
Oh.
feel a little slow and draggy. Not totally enough to turn me off, but I'm hoping episode 2 picks up.
But if it wasn't tied to the Batman IP,
I probably I would maybe give it one more, but it would be a very lackluster one more, you know?
okay. Hmm. Okay.
It's there are pieces that seemed promising, but yeah, it was really tough to get through the slower pacing and the length of the episode.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's too bad, but we'll
yeah, I
see.
mean,
Maybe
not
they say
everything's a
episode or
winner,
two more.
but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I might change my tune after episode 2. We'll see. Um Something that was very quick moving, fast paced, like jumped around a lot. Not always in a bad way, but a little frenetic. I also was feeling kind of like into the fall season, into the start of spooky season, and based on my like previous watching history on Hulu, the show Salem popped up. I was like, you know what? I feel it. Let's get in the mood for some, witchy times ahead, and let's watch this
Yeah.
show. Um, Definitely quicker and a lot more action happening there. Tougher to get into acting wise. There were some really strong performances and there were some like very middle of the road, like this is okay stuff.
Hmm.
So it's a little bit more of like a soapy drama. Obviously, as you can guess from the title, it's set in Salem during the classic witch trials that are occurring there. So, lots of action and different things to be explored there, kind of veering into some different stories than are kind of like the classic, bunch of girls running around like telling everybody they see the devil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it's interesting and this is like one I'm more willing to give a second episode to.
Okay.
I think I'm thinking maybe the uneven performances are just a factor of like we have so much to accomplish and set up in the first episode that we're kind of just like really skipping around a lot. So I'm willing to
Okay.
like give this because the production seems pretty good. So
I'm looking
willing
it
to give
up
this another
quick.
shot.
2014 through 2017, so a little older.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of this.
Yeah, I'd seen it floating around Hulu. Like I said, based on my interests, it was definitely like a show we recommend for you. And I was like, yeah, why not?
Sure. Yeah. No, that sounds right. Cool. Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
got the
those
one guy from Game of Thrones in there.
yes, yeah. Oh my gosh, what's his face?
He's a Greyjoy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't. I don't even see him in the cast here, or it's not a picture that looks like him, anyways. Um. Oh, is it Shane West? Is that him? No. Yeah,
He's
Shane West.
he's
Is that who I'm thinking?
yeah. He's not a Greyjoy
Okay.
though. But yeah,
I'm
he's in
I'm
there.
thinking of someone else, and I guess. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely fits the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, so I watched that and then continued on watching the Great British Baking Show second episode. Wildly different, obviously, than either Salem or Pennyworth.
Hmm.
Um, but definitely like one of those much needed like just breaks and resets and like
Yeah.
wholesome goodnessy episodes. So still loving that. And then I was really excited to watch the first episode of the new season of Halloween Wars, um, because I love that show. I've loved that for like it's all 10 seasons. And then last year they redid it with Zach Baggins as the host, and I was really excited about it. And started the season and they took out pumpkins. So it was like it used to be a team of like 3 people where you'd have like cake person, sugar person, and a pumpkin person. And they'd have to create these like elaborate tableaus out of all of those materials, different scenes, like different spooky, like, I don't know, moving pictures sometimes, like just all kinds of fun stuff. And then last season they took out pumpkins. And I was like, what is the point of this then? There's like no tie to Halloween. Like pumpkins are
Sure.
almost the whole point. So it feels like they heard that criticism and they added pumpkins back into the season. They're not like quite as prominent as they used to be, but I'll take it. Like
Okay.
this is far superior.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
So
remember you being disappointed last season.
yes,
Um,
super mad.
it is Baggins still hosting?
He is. Yes. Yep.
Okay, wow.
He's still not physically present there. He still appears
Yeah,
only via screen. But
dumb.
yeah, that is really dumb. But I at least liked the first episode they kicked off with this season, was based on his cruise adventures down in New Orleans,
Okay,
and their experiences trying to find the Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau. So that was
okay,
like a
yep.
fun first thematic episode, and they showed a couple of clips from the show. That was kind of fun to watch. Um, but yeah, they got a little bit more inventive with how he would appear on the screens and, like, where he would just, like,
Mhm.
pop out and just, like, talk to people, but I still feel like he should just be there or just don't.
I he's a weird guy, and I guess I don't know if he has some pull or what, because he did a whole show where I don't know if I brought it up on here before or not, but he sent his people, the rest of his team, to go investigate places whilst he stayed in like in Vegas or whatever in his creepy looking place and just like gave him orders via Zoom,
Yeah,
and
that
like,
that sounds like this.
yeah.
That's basically
I'm
what this
like,
is.
Zach, get off your butt,
Mhm,
go go investigate with your guys. This is
mhm.
not no. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I still like the themes that they're doing, like, based on his
Yeah.
show, but I just wish he was there. Like,
Hmm.
it's a little silly.
Yep. Yep.
But again, I will
Cool.
take this. This season is a far superior improvement. So very happy that Halloween Wars is back.
Sure. Nice. Yeah, I didn't get any I miss out on Halloween Wars. We definitely used to have that on once in a while, but we don't do live TV anymore or whatever. So um maybe let's see, Food Network, is that part of Discovery?
It is, yeah.
So maybe I can watch that on Discovery Plus. So I get why they have
Yeah,
that synergy then. All Zach shows are on Discovery Plus then. So
yeah, you should be able to because when we were looking, so the we found the second episode first, and then we had to like track down the first episode. Um, and it kept trying to like route us to Discovery Plus.
oh, okay.
So you should be able to at least watch the first one.
Cool. I did get in Mob Psycho, one more episode of that, Mob Psycho 100,
Mm-hmm.
just off of season 1. It's just one of those things, every once in a while I watch the next episode, it seems. Just behind
Sure.
on a lot of anime right now. Still in the middle of Call of the Night and that kind of thing. So I did manage to get a little more Horizon Forbidden West played. Um,
Nice. That's
it
been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I put a couple pictures on Twitter. Want to check
Yeah.
those out. It's it's still great. I thought, man, maybe I should try to finish the story of this game before I'm really in the field, but I just
Mhm.
don't think it's going to happen. I'm in
Sure.
there and I get distracted by things and just having fun doing side quests and whatever. So I just don't think there's any way. I'm 49 something hours in. and I'm
Well, and
sure
if you're
there's another
enjoying
100
it
hours of the yeah. It'll
if you're
just
enjoying it, like, why force yourself to do something different? Like, you're just gonna
Mhm.
enjoy it less.
Yeah. Because I still feel like I haven't there's so much I haven't done and explored, and yeah, I wanna play some other games, but there's nothing really that's a priority that I must play right now,
Sure,
so
sure.
I'll just
Go
keep
have
kinda
fun.
when I get the chance, yeah, trekking through. Still some Webtoons. Loaf app number 13 came out, so I read that.
Mhm.
It's good, but being caught up now, I'm worried that each episode each week isn't going to be enough again. They're too
Sure.
short to do much. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I'll kind of sit on this for a while and then
Mhm.
get behind intentionally so I can read a swath of them.
Yeah.
And then I'm dating a psychopath. I read 6 and 7, and they also did a in between like thanks for so many subscribers or whatever,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a
Mhm.
weird because it was labeled as like thanks for this many subscribers, but it was really just one giant warning, like,
Oh,
hey, I know a lot of
sure.
you are like getting into this because you think it's going to be a romantic comedy thing, and it's really not. It's really gonna be people making great choices with scary situations, and you might not like them. So it's like, okay, I get it. Just let all these people subscribe to your thing, and if they're unaware that this is where it's going, and they end up not liking it, then they'll stop. And you'll lose some. But take the subscribers for now. They already have plenty of warnings of like, if you have PTSD and stuff, don't read this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm totally torn because on the one hand, like, you shouldn't have to handhold people. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, they should figure out on their own. On the other, I do get the, like, because I would be like this personally. I do get the, like, secret fear of, like, "Oh my god, everybody's gonna suddenly turn on me when when" you know what I mean?
All the
Like, when
hate.
they
Yeah.
realize that, yeah, that this isn't what they thought it was gonna be, and that's not your fault because you're right, like, the
Right.
creator has given a lot of warnings and things like that. But, I mean, people can be dumb and can ignore that kind of stuff and just think like, "Ah, whatever," like, it's I still think
Mhm.
I know where it's going when they don't. So, yeah, so I totally get the, like, be super cautious and really warn people so that you don't get that sudden, like, you know, like, shoes on the other foot, like, total switch flip, like, everybody turns
Yeah.
on you. Because that would be my fear too, like, did I really put out enough warnings? Does everybody
Right.
really know? But at this
Mhm.
point, if you've got one long, like, warning panel, you're good. You're so covered. Like, you don't
Right.
need to do it
Yeah.
again.
Yep. Yeah. At this point, I'm still too early to really
Mhm.
fully recommend this. There's still some dialogue
Yeah.
that I don't know for sure. There's still some choices. I just don't know. I have to see where it's going to go a little bit and how it's handled. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think I don't think I put it on here, but I read, like, 1 or 2 more of these and, like, solid,
Hmm.
medium solid, you know? Like, I'm enough to keep going, but just not, like, I rush to the next one.
Yeah. The art is really really good. So
Yeah.
So that's been our weeks. We'll talk a little bit about a few news things now. We really kind of, I guess this isn't okay. This isn't news. This is just a topic. Um, so the only thing newsy about it, I guess, is that IGN wrote a thing. Um,
Sure.
IGN put together a list of the top 25 best anime of all time,
Mhm.
and I don't know. We might as well talk about it. IGN. I don't visit them all that much these days, but certainly still see their
Mhm.
content populate in feeds of things and such. So
Mhm.
should I? Okay, we'll run through these. We don't need to
Sure.
belabor it too long, but we'd stop and talk about them kind of as we go a little bit or something. Starting with number 25, Haikyuu. Um, I have
I've
not seen
watched it.
this. You
I have.
have. That's a
Mhm.
sport one,
I'm
right?
not Yes, yes, this is a volleyball one. To
Yep.
to preface, I haven't seen it all the way through, but I have seen this, and I like it a lot.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, I remember I kinda took a pause after finishing, the season, the 1st season, um, and I had mentioned that way back when I was talking about it on the show. I'm not a sport anime person.
Mhm.
Um, I know, like, probably if you think sport anime, especially that a girl would follow, Free Iwatobi Swim Club is probably one of the
Oh.
most popular ones, unsurprisingly. But I really liked this. I didn't know that I was gonna get into a sports anime, but I was just sort of like, I think I just come off of watching like some beach volleyball, and
Mm.
just was sort of like in that volleyball's
Yeah.
awesome moment. So I decided to try it. It was good. Really good
Cool.
story, fun, fun animation of like, playing the game, getting better, like this team trying to like come together. Classic storylines, but just like really done well.
Nice.
So I was kind of shocked to see it on here actually. Not
Sure.
that it
I
wasn't
mean,
good, but just like top 25, there's a lot
yeah,
out there.
that's saying a lot. Um, this list does seem to be focusing on anime television shows, not
Yes.
movies. So
Yes.
there's that. 24 Trigun. I can support this being on the list, especially for me for nostalgic purposes. So that's not particularly unbiased there, but
I have not watched
23.
this, but I remember talking about it because isn't
Yes,
a new
because
isn't
there's
a
a
new one coming, right?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
All right. Yep. Yep. It's on my
The
list
one
to
I'm gonna
watch.
ignore.
Yes, that's right.
23 and 22, I'm going to bring up, I think, an important element to this discussion. So 23 is Dragon Ball Z, and 22
Mhm.
is My Hero Academia. My question is, should anime series that are not yet done be. Okay, Dragon Ball Z technically is, because they've technically moved on to Dragon Ball Super. But should a show that's not finished yet be eligible for the top 25 list? I mean,
No.
Game of Thrones beforehand, right? I mean,
Exactly. No, no, I was
yeah,
literally just thinking that. Absolutely, because your last couple of seasons or last season or whatever could totally bomb and change
yeah,
your opinion. Absolutely.
right.
So no, I don't
Um,
think so.
Glad we agree because there is something that didn't make this list that I think maybe would have otherwise had it not like drug on for way too long and got dull, and that would be Inuyasha. I'm
Sure.
guessing
Yeah.
you were going to think I'd say Bleach, which is also
I
not
was
on this
actually
list.
I was actually going to think either of those. Yeah. Bleach or
Okay, yeah.
Inuyasha, which I
Mhm.
have recently started.
Mm, nice, cool.
Mhm.
You'll you'll enjoy the hell out of the first couple seasons.
That's what
Yeah,
I've heard. So I'm
yeah.
just like I'm going into it knowing that like there's a cliff at which I will fall and it'll be disappointing, but whatever. I'm along for the ride till then.
It's more like a landslide, or you're like stuck rolling down a hill. You don't fall off a cliff. You just are like,
Sure.
yeah.
Can't
So,
stop yourself. You're like, "Oh god, we're still going
yep.
down."
21 Made in Abyss. I have not seen this and know nothing about it.
Yeah, no, I've never even heard of it before, so
Mhm.
I mean, I'll look it up, I guess, now.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It says entire series. That's number
Mm.
20. I couldn't get past the insaney art and such. It's
Sure.
so odd.
Sure.
I'm sure
Yeah,
I'm
I have
missing
not
out, but
seen this, but I do feel like it's very interesting that they say entire series here
yeah, right.
and not, like, others.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just isn't that weird?
Well, it's because it's kind of to my understanding, it's kind of segmented. There really are different, like different. I don't get mad at me, JoJo fans. I don't know this show. It's something
Sure.
like a JoJo person can be different and is like almost like
Okay.
a different hero with the same
So
title or something like that. So it's
so is it
very
like a
can be
Doctor
very
Who kind of thing?
segmented. Yeah, maybe
Is
something
it
like that. Maybe something like
okay.
that.
I mean, I would get that then, but yeah, I mean, I just found it odd that, like, entire
Yeah.
series was only for JoJo's.
Mhm. Number 19, Naruto Shippuden. Um, that one, they specifically say Naruto Shippuden. They don't say Naruto and they don't say the entire series. They just are
Right.
calling out this one. So that's kind of how that goes there. I've seen some really cool episodes of Naruto Shippuden, but I don't know that it's like. I don't know. It's definitely the fans, so it's got something going for it. Um, Death Note number 18. Got to be good with
Classic.
that. Hmm.
Classic. Yep. One of my first ones. One of Chris's first ones as well.
Hmm.
Very, very
Um,
excellent.
Still the probably number one. Like if you're gonna tell someone to watch an anime, what's your first one? It's still probably the safe bet. Watch this first. Watch Death Note. No, I
See.
see your mouth moving. I don't hear the noise. What you're making? It's like,
I know. I know. So I'm trying because I'm trying to think because I really love Sword Art Online, and I just think like the
oh,
whole first, like if you could just like ignore everything past the first season, just like that first season is so so good, and it's such like an easy segue. You know what I mean?
but it's more anime-y. There are more tropes and things,
Yeah,
from it. I feel like if your cartoons are for kids, or I don't watch this stuff or whatever,
true.
Death Note is just it just grabs you. And I mean, I love the choice. I'd love to see someone as their first anime. Like I know Phil watched that earlier in his
He did.
Webtoons.
I think was it maybe his
I don't know.
second one? It
Yeah.
was really early for him, and Sword Art Online was also really early for Chris too. I mean, he'd
Okay.
watched, like, pieces of other things, but I'm talking, like, sat down and watched a full season.
Mm. There's some
I think
powerful stuff in that season one.
yeah. I think gosh, I wanna say, like, Death Note, Soul Eater, and then maybe Sword Art were his
Mm.
first,
Okay.
like, full 3, and
Mhm.
not just, like, catching whatever I'm watching or catching what, like, you and I were watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
anyway, Death Note is a
Yeah.
really good
Death
first
Note.
starter. The only pause I have on it, is, why can't I think of the death god?
Oh, Ryuk.
Yeah, yep. Just like that's just sort of off-putting for some people, I feel like,
Hmm.
you
Okay.
know?
I think that's a series to me, and my sister and her husband will disagree very
Mhm.
much, but I think it's a series that you really need to watch in Japanese. It was kind of from a
I agree.
time when there wasn't it's we don't have the same standards for voice acting in English, or we didn't then as we do now. Um, and so yeah, that believability, the credibility of all those characters really comes through more in Japanese. So
Absolutely. We tried 1 episode in English, and I couldn't stand it. Like, like, literally, it was like nails on a chalkboard with a couple of the character especially, like, the laughs that were going on. Like those,
mm,
like, when they're, like, laughing in a moment, they're, like,
yeah.
either, like, a realization or, like, an evil scheme laugh. Oh god, they
Hmm.
were horrible. So, yeah, we made it 1 episode, and we were like, "Screw that."
Yep. Number 17 is Attack on Titan. That one certainly is a mega force,
Yeah.
cultural thing right now. I'd say this is one of those things that is you know, on the tier of the biggest things in pop culture right now. But
I'm
another show
surprised it's
that's
not
not quite
higher.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised too. But there a lot of people talk about slower moments. I fell off because of kind of
Sure.
it started to drag, and then they're really prolonging this final season. It's like being split into 4 sections or something like that. I keep thinking the final episode is out. The final episode is out, and no, it's like the final episode of part
Section
2
2.
of the final season. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's definitely this one, if I am not mistaken, I've said it before, came out in a year. It's when it started that really was like a surprise thing for anime. We had Notagami, Attack on Titan, and Kill la Kill, I think all in
Mm,
this year.
good
I think it was
stuff.
like 2017 maybe. And it was just like there were moments early in watching Attack on Titan again when I've talked about the kind of visceral experience that like fires all the senses in the body somehow that I don't get from other mediums. Attack on Titan, when that started, definitely had some of those things, like just
Yeah.
the crazy like crescendo in the like opening, how dramatic that was, the sort of like universal sort of struggles that people go through and the secrets being kept from them, and then the horror that young people have to face in this situation, and the mystery behind it all. It was just very well set up and all that. So
Mhm.
yeah. Number 16,
Mhm.
Oran High School Host Club.
Mhm. That was one of my first shows.
Yeah,
Yep, I think Fruits Basket was actually my first. This might have been my second.
nice. Classic. I've not
Yeah,
seen it all the way through. I've only seen parts of it. I know Ashley watched it all the way through for sure and stuff. So I'm missing out because,
yeah. Yeah, this is one of the
yeah.
few on here that I have seen all the way through. So,
Okay.
I love that this is on here, and it is classic for a reason. Definitely
Yeah.
belongs on here.
15, Devilman Crybaby.
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
Ashley started this one and was just like, "What is this?" It didn't click with her, and
Sure.
she didn't like the art, and it gets like shockingly graphic all of a sudden, and just it didn't grab her in the right way.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so off of that recommendation, I didn't try it either. Um, 14, Demon Slayer.
Mhm.
Another one that I am this latest season was crazy. I just watched at the Aniplex event, the live in Yokohama. I watched the orchestra for this play
Oh,
through,
cool.
like kind of play through what has happened in the series so far.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was fun.
cool.
Hmm. A lot of fun. I did an unboxing of a figure from this um, series on the channel. You guys should check out. But again, it's not done. It's nowhere near
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So disqualified.
Mhm.
Um, 13, Kogias, Lelouch of the Rebellion. So this is a big blank spot for me. This is one that I feel bad for not having seen. Um,
Samesies.
my sister and her husband watched it and loved it. Is definitely really big in a moment. Before anime is it's not as big, nowhere near what it is now, but it like was just one of those shows that for sure hit for a lot of people. And yeah, I really should watch this one.
Same. It's been on my list for a really long time, and I just keep being reluctant to hit start, you know?
Sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, like, I don't know if it's just, like, I'm worried I won't like it or if I'm just, like, not in the right mood ever when I think about it, but, yeah, I just haven't started it.
Well, it's one of those shows too that was owned by a company that's now gone. And so there was a
Mhm.
rights thing for a while. It was kind of limbo, and
Yes.
now Funimation has it like everything else. But
Yep.
number 12, Samurai Champloo,
Mhm.
from acclaimed director Shinichiro Watanabe of
Mhm.
Cowboy Bebop fame.
Mhm.
This is a show that will kind of grow on you. Like it has its moments, but you know how at the end of the Lord of the Rings, you're like you're just kind of in awe at the journey that they've been through. Like how could you have
Yeah.
started there and you've gone through this and you kind of feel the weight of it.
Okay, okay.
There's a the crew at the end of this show, despite all the hijinks and the silliness and the things, it's one of those things that just the characters have another layer. And when you're done with the series, you feel a weight. There's a weight there. And yeah. So I was thinking of some of my favorite scenes from anime ever the other night. And definitely one or two of those are from this show.
Okay. Good to know because this is a show that I did start and just wasn't getting into, so I not that it was bad, but it just wasn't, like, gripping me, so I gave up.
Yeah. Hmm.
So maybe I'll
And
just try to restart that.
it ends greater than the sum of its parts, because it's
Okay.
the same thing. I'd sit and watch through the episodes now and be like, yeah, this isn't the greatest, like you say, not really gripping you necessarily, but by the time you get to the end, you just felt like you went through something. So
Okay. Alright,
I
I'll
don't know.
restart it.
Number 11, Bakano. Definitely heard of this. Know it's popular. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, samesies. Although
Number
I'm gonna I'm gonna say number 10, FLCL. Nah, I haven't even heard of that. I don't even know what that is.
Whoa!
That
Oh,
the
whoa,
name for
whoa.
something?
Okay, Alan's gonna freak out right now. Alan is gonna freak out on you right now.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm so sorry. Why don't I know about this
FLCL
then?
is FLCL is Furikuri, stands for Furikuri.
Oh, oh, okay. Well, then at least
Okay,
I've heard of it.
okay, yes. So there have since been a number of sequels, subsequent follow-ups here. Yeah. Um, it's this is a show of a moment, and I feel like it's a perfect story, like adolescent story, but it's not a beginner's anime. It is
Yeah.
weird. There aren't answers. It is interpretive, but it's beautiful, and the music by the Pillows is very, very good. Um, it's just kind of an art piece, really, in a
Mhm.
way, like an anime art piece that will leave you with more questions than answers. Um, and again, it just has it has a feel, it has a vibe, and if you're into it, like it feels like Japan.
Okay.
The atmosphere and the I don't know, yeah. So I dig it. I'm glad it's on the list.
Well, I
um,
feel better that at least I've heard of it. I just like I was staring at this trying to be like, what is FLCL? And like I was trying to come up with like all these different like acronyms that this was for, and it was just like having no luck. So I feel
mhm.
dumb, but also better now.
Yep, pretty cool. Number 9, this is controversial to some, I suppose. Yu Yu Hakusho, vastly outnumbering Dragon Ball Z here. It's kind of have a resurgence, Yu Yu Hakusho, I suppose. They start putting out some new products and stuff. I think there was an anniversary. I know they're going to be doing a live action adaptation, sadly, and so we've heard a little more about this recently. And for action anime, I can't argue. For just like the shonen action thing, this feels like the 90s, and the best version of an action anime. So, number 8, Neon Genesis Evangelion. So, you have any familiarity with this?
I do. I've watched an episode here or there,
Okay.
but this is not one by any means that I've watched all the way through.
Definitely a classic. Um, there's a lot cool about it. Like, it deserves to be a classic for how well it's put together. There's
Mhm.
so many annoying things with it. There's a lot of slowness to it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I've never felt the real urge to go through and watch it all, or to watch all
Sure.
the kind of as it's been remade into movies and all that. I don't know. It's pretty high on the list, but it's well known.
I mean, it's like one of those shows that I hear name dropped a lot,
Yes.
but I just have never been like interested to go fully watch it. Like I said, I've caught
Right.
like an episode here or there, but I don't know. Seems okay. Just doesn't seem
It
like my thing.
it's very psychological, and it redefined the mech genre. I think that's
Mhm.
part of it. And again, so well animated, so different, so like mental.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's
But
that's part of the tough part for me is because I'm not always a big mech fan.
mhm,
It
mhm.
just has to be the right one. Like I can get into things, but that's just not like my go-to genre.
Yeah. Yep. Number 7, Hunter, which is disqualified, not done.
Yep.
Though not better than Yu Yu Hakusho at this point, I would say. So, Mob Psycho 100, number 6, also not done.
I was gonna say, as our resident watcher, how do you feel?
I mean, it's cool. It's definitely, yeah, it's unique. The art, the animation is impressive. The art is different. It's acquired taste. But yeah,
Sure.
again, not done. I'm not finished. So
This I'm gonna like take a break here to just say this list feels very current.
Well, doesn't it feel written by someone our age? Because it's got a bunch of kind of class, or maybe it's someone younger that thinks this is what should be on the list. You know,
Yeah, that's
there's
how
not
it
enough
feels to
that's
me.
out there. There's too
Mhm.
much that's, I've heard about this
Classic.
and this has like made an impact, so it's on the list.
And I feel like it's a battle between like this is classic and should go on the list and I've heard about it, and also like you said, stuff that's like still happening and
Mhm.
shouldn't be on the list. It should be disqualified or like it should be caveated to be like, yeah, this isn't done. So totally could change or like we made this list like thinking or make two different lists, make a complete list and a make an in progress list.
Yeah,
But
right.
it just feels like somebody, yeah, wrote this halfway of like what I think should go on there based on what I hear and know. And then the other is like things that are happening right now.
Yeah. I would maybe agree with that. It's someone like 15 years younger than us. And so they're like, what am I watching that is so good right now that is really
Which, yeah,
popular?
like
And
not
then,
that not that the stuff that isn't finished is bad. It's just not finished.
right. Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah.
Number five, Hajime no Ippo.
Mhm.
I don't know what this is.
It's a boxing. I had to look it up.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's something more, a little different.
Which the only boxing anime I've ever liked is Megalobox, which is
Okay.
awesome. Recommend
Okay.
that. No, no, I know nothing about Hajime no Ippo, but
Okay.
Megalobox, check that out.
Number four, Monster. Um, I need to watch this. It definitely is something that I like. Didn't love the art and animation from what I've seen. I think that's what's kept me away from it a little bit. But it is a revered classic. So,
Oh, this one. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mhm.
Gotcha.
Number three, One Piece. No surprise that this is on the list, but not
Oh,
finished.
nope.
Number two, Cowboy Bebop. Not surprised to me. This
No.
actually belongs at number one. And then number
I wondered if you were gonna say that.
and then number one, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood out of nowhere. So yeah. Have you seen much for Full Metal Alchemist?
Again, it's a show that I've seen pieces of. Um,
Okay.
Either caught episodes at cons or like caught an episode here or there when I tried to start Full Metal Alchemist. Um, Somebody else was watching it that I know and just kind of like popped in for an episode. So I've seen it, just nothing that makes a whole lot of sense.
Okay.
But I know it's one of those that I should. It's like one of those classics that I feel like I should just have under my belt.
Yeah. Well, and so, for a while I think there was an argument, the original show, Full Metal
Mhm.
Alchemist or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
for anyone that doesn't know, the manga came out, Full Metal Alchemist, then they were making the anime, Full Metal Alchemist, and they deviated heavily from the manga
Yeah.
after a set point. It still ended well and was really good, albeit a little melodramatic, very good. And then later they made Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is much more true to the manga. And so I've seen all of the original anime Full Metal Alchemist. I own that all on DVD. The Brotherhood series, I've watched a lot of it, but I haven't finished it, shamefully, because there's so much good to it. It is more it's one of those weird shows that really balances the like absurd and zany, I guess, with pretty serious, again, melodramatic adult stuff. It got a little slow in one part for me. I should just start over. It's pretty long, but it
Hmm.
has one of my favorite scenes of any anime ever in it. Very
Mm,
impactful, very powerful, really well done. Um, so I definitely am not opposed to this being on the list.
okay.
Um, before we move on, overall, how do you feel about this list? Is this something that really stands out as shouldn't be there, or something that really should be there?
I mean, I feel like I already shared kind of my overall thoughts of like this just doesn't feel like a real top 25 list. You know, I think there should
Right.
just be more consideration of like
So from the
I
80s.
yeah, yeah. Um yeah, nothing and I just feel like there should be more qualifiers to this. Like
Mhm.
just have stuff that's already finished. Make sure you're going to narrow it to like say you're going to talk about TV shows if that's what you're truly going to do. Um and yeah, I mean there should just be I think a little bit more breadth here in terms of different kinds of shows.
Right. Yeah, like some of the things that really made an impact, for Ashley, Oranji was a show that really, meant quite a bit to her. Um, there is,
Like where's
uh,
Fruit Basket? That's classic.
yeah, 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 yeah. Alan
Where's
brings up, Gurren Lagann. So
Oh my
yeah,
god, Gurren Lagann. I
nothing
love
from
Gurren
Studio
Lagann.
Trigger, nothing from
Mhm.
Studio Trigger. Um, Alan says Gintama, which okay, but that's a never ending. I mean, I don't know. I assume that's still going. That's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes. So that's a tough one to me to say yes. That's I guess best by most episodes. Um, but
But
yeah.
yeah, I feel like this list is just not what it purports to be.
Hmm.
It's I mean, it's a
Yeah.
fine collection of shows, even though I haven't seen all of them, so I can't say for certain that every single one belongs on this list, but yeah, I just feel like it isn't what it says it is.
Yep. Sure. All right. So that's that. Let us know what your favorite anime
Yeah,
are.
what are
What
we
are the ones
missing?
that
What is this list missing?
yeah.
Love to
We
know.
should put together a list sometime, like a top 15.
Should. We should. I
So,
would love that.
mhm.
Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah.
Which is coming back, I believe, in some
Yeah.
form or fashion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple things to look forward to. The first one being an anime coming to Netflix on October 27th is Romantic Killer.
Mhm.
Um, seems like it's a woman that doesn't want anything to do with romance. She wants to game and do her own thing. And some little cute tiny wizard creature thing comes and says, "I'm gonna make you fall in love," essentially.
Yep.
And
Yep.
she says, "I no way, not happening." And so this little wizard is gonna put in front of her temptation and hunks and stuff. It seems, and
Yes. Her life is a dating sim.
so, I mean, it's gonna be it's the perfect thing that anime does. Like the right weird scenario that's not possible, not gonna happen,
Right.
but it's fun to explore and then see what how it goes.
Yeah, it looks cute, it looks well put together, it's a fun premise, like, it's just kind of a this could like you said, this could obviously never happen, but, like, what if it could? And that's the magic of anime. Like,
Yep.
it can make that happen, so let's just see what would.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it.
Um Another thing coming, but a little bit later, next year. You found this, the Shadow and Bone season 2. They kind of released a little trailer.
Yeah,
Um
it's only, like, 40 seconds long, so it's really just a true, like, teaser of what's coming in 2023 rather than, giving you anything substantial, but I'm excited. I thought the first season was well done. I've read all the books now, including like the other trilogy that the crows are from. So yeah, I'm really excited that season two's coming back. We also got along with the trailer a little sneak peek of new characters and their kind of like signature outfits for the season.
mm.
Um, so that was really fun. Everybody's looking sharp. I really love the costuming for this show.
Would you say that this show or the books of which is based upon
Mhm.
are young are the young adult? Is that the genre?
They are, yes. But they
Okay.
don't they are young adult, and there are definitely moments when you're very aware of that, but there are definitely moments when I feel like it transcends just like some YA tropes, you know?
Right. Yeah.
There are books that I feel like are YA that always feel stuck there, and I think
Mhm.
this series definitely moves beyond in some points.
Okay.
And then you do have
It's
like some like I'm definitely reading about teenagers in a love triangle right now.
right. Mhm. It's why I give this show, Shadow and Bone, a little more leeway than, um, Wheel of Time. I feel like Wheel of Time, a person's life work, that I mean, I don't know. Shadow and Bone, it just some of the cleanness of people and the convenience of relationship things. I understand what I'm getting into a little bit with this. Like it feels
Sure.
like it fits with what I'm seeing. Whereas I feel like Wheel of Time is trying to be a lot more than that. They want to be on the level of something I take really seriously. Like,
Right, which is hilarious because Wheel of Time is definitely not YA when you read the books. That is
right, that's what I'm saying.
no
But the show feels YA.
I know. It's very strange. It's difficult because yeah, in the first season you're really aware that the younger cast is the younger cast. Whereas like in the books it just doesn't there's not as much like high school love triangle stuff.
Yeah.
You also don't see them in the books, and the way that, like, their dialogue is written in the books makes them sound older, so you can sort of forget the fact that they're teenagers, but when you're looking at, like, someone who's
Yeah.
playing a teenager on screen and is clearly trying to act that way, it's really difficult.
It's why not everything always translates perfectly well, or
Yeah. Mhm.
sometimes casting a lot older than the character is intending to be, and just having them play younger can work. All the things I think of, 14-year-olds in anime doing would not fly or work or make sense in live
Oh, right,
action
in our live action,
at
yeah,
all.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, look forward to that
Mhm.
in 2023. Next
2023
story.
sorry, I just found it also Rurouni Kenshin.
Oh,
That's when
okay.
it's being released, 2023.
So, is that a what? A sequel, remake? What is that? I haven't looked
See,
into
it
it.
says new anime.
Okay. I don't want this spree of like we're getting
Gee.
with Trigun. Now, if we're gonna get Rurouni Kenshin,
Yeah, it just says new television anime based on Rurouni Kenshin manga.
yeah.
Eh,
So
I
new,
don't know
just
what that
new.
means though. That's yeah.
Mhm.
That could mean anything.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, at least it's an
Let the
anime.
classics be classics. Let the classics be classics.
At least they're not making live action.
Already done. Already
Yeah.
did it.
I'm I'm willing to give it some leeway until I find out what it actually is because new
Sure.
just means nothing.
Yep. Next story I think is a pretty big get for Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
So Breaking Bad, considered one of the best television shows ever, definitely was coming out in that kind of like, wow, TV is the thing to watch. Is that really made that transition where it's not like shameful to be an actor and move to television out of film, and a season or a series that was good from beginning to end, generally considered, anyways.
Mhm.
And the creator also then made Better Call Saul, which against the expectations, people also really love and say just is just amazing. It's just an amazing show.
Yep.
So it's a Vince Gilligan seems like a person that really cares about his works and only does it if he has a story to tell. Not
Yep.
one that's probably going to start filming without knowing the ending, that kind of thing. So he's making a show now that is coming to Apple TV Plus,
Mhm.
starring an actress from his show, Better Call Saul, and they've already approved 2 seasons.
Yes.
So
Major.
I think this is a
And
this is something to watch.
well, and I was reading the article, and it looked like both Amazon and AMC were trying to bid on this project, and
I
somehow
bet.
Apple TV won out. So,
Somehow, yeah, Apple with her infinite money.
well, I mean, Amazon has infinite money.
Yeah, they spent it all on Lord of the Rings.
I mean, did they
House of
though? Did they really? Can Jeff Bezos not afford another TV? He totally can.
Yes.
I mean, maybe
But
not another Lord of the Rings, but
the
he could
question is
afford this.
how much are they willing to lose? Because of course they can keep spending money, but every company has to decide how much they're willing to lose
True,
on
true.
trying to make this make money. And
Yeah,
some things that will perpetually, Microsoft kind of like perpetually loses money, presumably selling
right,
Microsoft Surface devices. It's just it's a calculation that's enough to get the branding out there. It's a
right.
name thing, and that's enough that it helps branding wise for the rest of the business.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, spending the kind of money that Amazon is, how long will they do that for when they can instead just sell servers to people? you know?
I don't know, I feel like Bezos has been pretty clear about wanting Prime Video to succeed, and have,
It's like
like,
a
their
vanity
payment.
thing,
I mean,
though.
yeah, but that doesn't mean it can't go on for a long time.
Yeah.
People can run on their vanity for quite a while. I
Mhm.
mean, he's made some big moves. I say he, but, like, whoever his
Right.
Prime Video exec is, presumably, like, carrying out his wishes, because he has spoken personally about it. But I mean, they've made some really big moves. I mean, obviously releasing Lord of the Rings was probably one of the biggest, but like getting Thursday night football. I mean, I know we're not generally sports people, but that is also a fairly big get for a streaming service
Yes.
to have a regular week game. That's huge.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, it's not that they're not invested. So, my fear would be if I was Amazon, I mean, I know that they would be interested in this because on all like surface level appearance, this would be a slam dunk. But I mean, is Gilligan's luck gonna run out at some point? Is there gonna be the fail project? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like because Breaking Bad was so good and everybody was like, "Oh my god, Better Call Saul can't be anywhere near as good," and then somehow it was. I mean, is this the project where things flop, or is this just gonna be like Triple Crown? I don't
Right.
know, but
Yeah.
it's a risk.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, and I have no doubt that Apple is losing money on television right now too. So
Yeah.
everybody's making their
Mhm.
bets, but you kind of have to, to see that it's worth it, succeed critically or commercially. You got to have one of the two. Hopefully both, but one of the two. And right now, Amazon's biggest show is not even charting. Like it's not even in the top. It's not working out right now. So we'll see. But I haven't watched much on Apple TV Plus now in a while either. So
I haven't either.
I really need to watch Severance. That's
I
like
do too.
I just like
Oh,
started it and like had to turn off right away, and it just immediately grabbed me. So I really want to watch that. Yeah, but
yeah. I feel like I need
uh,
something to like, get me back in there to like draw. I feel like I need so cliche, but I need like a new Ted Lasso to like be like, right, right, and then get me in there so I can find all the things again. Because that's when I was really in
mhm.
there. Was like when I was watching Ted Lasso every week and I was like rooting around trying to like find different things on Apple TV.
And we didn't watch Rose Byrne's second season yet, Physical.
Oh my god, we didn't. Whoa. Oh, I gotta get going on that. I loved Physical. It was
Mhm,
nuts and wild and out there, and I always thought I knew what was gonna happen, and then I didn't, and then
mhm.
her performance was just, ugh, chef's kiss. So good.
We have so much to watch, Andrea.
I know. I
So
know.
much. And our final story is I just saw this before going live tonight. I guess there
Yeah.
was some bits of Alan Rickman's diaries that were released.
Mhm.
That seems shady. I don't know. Like,
I don't
you
like
want
it
your
at all.
diaries published? That's not cool, right?
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
So, I mean, your diary is like your mind, you know? It's not your mind is not what you do. Your mind and your thoughts are not who you are. We can get all Batman and say it's your actions that define you, whatever, you know. Um, I
That's
guess
that's two
that's
very different
Rachel.
philosophical branches right there. Because I think therefore I am. But just saying.
Well, okay, so
Oh
that can
no,
be the
I led us
argument.
down a road.
I,
Oh no.
I get
Whenever
if you
John takes
fill
a
your
breath and goes, okay, we're going somewhere.
if you fill your mind consistently with something that inevitably leads to your actions, that inevitably comes out. But like, if your mind is, diverse and all over the place, and it's not like, obsessive on something, then it's I get it, the idea, garbage in, garbage out sort of thing, you know. But ultimately, I see a diary as another means to organizing your mind. And those are not, even though they were thoughts in the moment or
Sure.
whatever, recollections of the moment, does not mean that those were, I don't know, it's just an importance to how you present yourself to people, and that needs to be the real you. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I yeah, so I mean there are certainly people who keep diaries for themselves and there are certainly people who keep diaries with the intention of I am recording my thoughts for the public. Like they mean it
Sure,
for public consumption.
sure.
Um so if that's what this was, then that's okay and I don't have an issue with it. But I probably wouldn't seek it out just because I have my own picture of Alan Rickman and I don't know if I want to go read his thoughts or not. If this was a diary just for him, then I hate all of this. Icky, get it out. Like
Isn't it?
I don't want to know
What you
his like
consider?
innermost thoughts. If those were truly just for him, I don't need to see
Right.
that.
Once you consider what you suggest with the, like, for public consumption, more of
Mhm.
a memoir than
But people call it a diary because
okay.
when you write a memoir, you're writing, I think, a story, and diaries can be more like slice of life, snippety, you know, impressions of a moment. They can be more scattered. They don't have to be like topically organized things.
Hmm.
So
Right.
that yeah, I mean, yes and no. You are sort of writing a memoir or your own like autobiography in a sense, but at the same time, like diaries can be more like impressionistic or
Sure.
just
Yeah.
like I said, like kind of like stream of consciousness type things, even if you're writing for someone else to see it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like. I mean, I get it in like a crime investigation or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But other than that, not a big fan. So IGN again has this article. If you're interested in reading what was said there, the big deal is that he was like maybe ready to quit, or like maybe wasn't going to be in ready to be in all the Harry Potter films. So,
So glad he
but it's
stuck it
kind of
out.
like, well, shocker, someone had struggles making
Right.
eight is like all these movies, for many years and dealing with kid actors and all this stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I certainly get like there's so much change on set. Like you said, working with like child actors, like they're going through a whole like coming of age experience, and that can be a lot to just
yeah,
even be on the periphery of and still be kind of, in an essence dealing with that vicariously. You go through how many different directors who have different ideas, different creative visions, while you're the one holding, I have this one character, and I want some
hmm,
consistency for that character. And the director's like, but I want like, this
yeah,
movie to be completely different from the last one. So yeah, creatively, that would be incredibly challenging.
yep, yep. All right, that's it for the news. Let's get
Mhm.
into our webtoon of the week, Soul Leveling 20 through 24. Found that the numbering is a little different between the physical print and the online digital.
Okay.
Also, there's some translations I found out that are a little different too.
Interesting.
So yeah, um, hopefully not too. I'm guessing if you have any weird dialogue, it's probably corrected in the print version.
Got it.
My guess. So,
Yeah, there have been
um,
some words out of order, like misspellings or like an odd choice here or there that I was like,
yeah.
"Oh,"
And there's
but
none of that in the print version, and I
sure.
noticed because you sent me the screenshot last page, and what he
Mm.
says there and what it said in the print is not the same.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah,
Interesting. You should show me either on
yeah,
or offline, what the print says. I'm
yeah.
curious.
So what'd you think of these? 23,
I like
24.
these. These were these were the equivalent of, getting into the dungeon, um, in the first kind of, you know, 1 through 10 panels that we had, and we were kind of getting into like, oh my god, we're getting in a sense of present danger. The story's moving ahead. We have to figure some things out. Where are we? Like, what's the threat? So yeah, so I quite enjoy this. I enjoy this more the group interaction that we're having here more than I kind of enjoy the so-called training montage that we've just been
Sure.
through. So this to me is like the good stuff of the story. Is like relating to other characters and these kind of external obstacles. This is the strength right here. Because I'm not always quite convinced when Jinwoo is like pep talking himself or like having his like
Mm,
training moments where he's like, I can do this or I can't do this or like I have to figure it out. The dialogue there just doesn't always grab me. So I
okay,
much prefer him like dealing with an external problem.
okay. Yeah, I enjoy these a lot. They were definitely we didn't have to wait too long for people to get what was coming to them, and you were
Hmm.
totally right to be suspicious and nailed
Shady
that.
guy. I have a note in here. Shady guy, shady contract. Like everything about this leader was just like, oh
Yep. Yep. And then they started, especially when they started early in this one, like the glints they put in people's eyes and the way they'd shade them, like make the
shadow
smile
people.
disappear. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that kind of thing. Um, yeah, the lizards metaphor, that's right. Why did I think of lizards right now? That's good. Um, I it's that thing that Sword Art Online does well also. It just creates these really satisfying moments and scenarios. It does that like shonen power fantasy thing well in yeah, and you get like revenge here and stuff. Um I'm liking it a lot because easily this could be messed up with making our protagonist too powerful too fast. I'm just not
Yeah.
feeling that because I feel satisfying.
Yeah, I was a little apprehensive and kind of on the line about him beating this like sea level boss. At first, it felt like it was satisfyingly paced, and then suddenly it felt like he was able to do it. But they explained the factors behind him beating the boss enough in subsequent panels that I was like, okay, all right, I buy this now. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't
Yep.
ready for him to like solo take on a sea level boss, and then everything that happened, I was like, okay.
I liked his saving grace there. He didn't use his reward from earlier. That was great. Um, so yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that was kinda
And
one of the things where I was like, "Okay, alright," because I was worried that they were gonna do some sort of, like, Deus ex machina, like, somebody just, like something happens, just comes
yeah,
in and saves the day, but this, like, worked out in a very believable way.
because it wasn't cheap. It was there for us
Mhm.
to see. Like
Right,
we didn't get a reward from his thing. So that's
right,
perfect. It was there. We
right.
didn't think of it. So Um, and I love I mean, it's the underdog story kind of thing. I love that someone is underestimated and
Mhm.
totally exceeds and blows everyone away. So I like that a lot. Um, I see you remarked the anti-American sentiment. I wonder how
Yeah.
that's phrased in there. I wonder if there's a different phrasing or not because it I to me it just like from the loose stuff that I'm aware of or whatever, to me, it wouldn't come off as anti-American sentiment just as so much as like a national pride thing. Like you would leave us, like why wouldn't you work for us? Why aren't you helping us and the betterment of our
Yeah.
nation
Yeah, I would
to just take
wonder
off?
I wonder if there's like a wording choice that's different between like the physical and online versions just because there was that sense of why would you leave us, but it was like how could you leave us to go to America? Do you know
Okay,
what I mean? And the emphasis was kind of there, like he's there. It was like very like ugh, America.
sure. I should
So
have brought the print copy in here with me to
yeah,
read
yeah,
exactly.
I'd love to again take a look at it probably offline. But just to see because it wasn't, like, harsh, it wasn't, like, dragged on for,
Yeah.
like, 20 panels or whatever, but it was just enough that I was like, "Interesting." Like, this is, just we're getting, like, a little jab in there.
Hmm. Yep.
So
And what do they say exactly about that? I mean, is there a lot of thought behind that, or is it
yeah,
and
it's just
what is
like an
that thought?
easy
Because we have our person that's not a good person saying this as
right.
well. So
Right, right, yeah, so
um,
it's like, is this just like a throwaway, like, you know, we're doing a jab at America, or are we like, not really because, yeah, like you said, it's the evil person who's saying this.
yeah. Um, what's this? Stop watching and get in the game, kid. You want the shielded like
Yes!
glammed up guy to get in
He
there?
he literally just watches and he's, like, thinking this whole, like, thought story in his brain about, like, "Oh, he's a
Yeah,
false ranker. That must be this happening and this
yeah.
happening." And it's like, "'Kay, kid, like, that's nice, but backstory later. Get out now." Like, this guy
Mhm,
literally was like, "I will go deal with big spider boss if you can just find us a way out of here." And he does
mhm,
nothing except try to figure out what's happening. Like, there is time for that later. Go be practical and figure out a way out of here.
mhm.
So,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was
I get
clearly
the like
just
panic
stunned.
and whatever, and he's
Yeah,
green and new and whatever, but like, yeah, I was just like sitting there like, you are thinking way too hard about this. Can you not sense the present danger? Get
yep.
out.
I would have, started working on the mining right away then. That would be the best option because you knew the other people were gonna come back, you know?
Well, we did,
So
but
start
like they
well, they
did.
knew they'd come back to, like they figured they'd come back when they're dead and
Yeah,
then
but
kill
that
the
I mean, that
boss.
also assumes that, like, this guy who you know but don't really is gonna be able to defeat the spider boss.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean,
But I'm
because
just
he
saying,
has a
like, the
whole
rubble.
process of, like, like, "Oh my god, how can he be doing this? Is he not really an and, like, he just, like, goes on and on and on and on, and I was just like, like, do the thing he asked you to do.
Mhm,
He's, like, over here
mhm.
sacrificing himself, and you're and commenting about, 'Oh, he must be so fatigued. He's trying so hard.'" Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I at least appreciate that most of there was the appropriate use of thought bubbles. I really do
mhm,
dislike in manga when people unnecessarily say things that they would just be thinking or going through in their
right,
head. Don't say it
right,
out loud. And then they make it into an anime and then they say it out loud in the anime too. It's like, how often these people talk to themselves right now?
right,
Like
right,
I get it if you've been alone for a long time, then
right.
people talk to themselves. That's what happens.
Well,
But
and using that once or twice is funny where somebody, like, accidentally says something out loud
yeah.
that they definitely meant to think. That's funny, but, like, doing it all the time is like, "Oh my god, nobody has, like, a running diatribe like that."
Yeah. Yep. Yep. But overall, I liked it a lot. I thought the recap panel seemed unnecessary and like they just put them in there
Agreed.
to fill space or something. That's how I read that. But
Yeah, it could have been cool because it was like this it was getting like very philosophical. That that this chapter right after he's handed his emergency quest where he has to kill everybody and it
yeah.
was very like, "Oh my gosh, now the game is ordering me to kill people like kill or be killed, if I kill them, I get the rewards. If I don't kill them, I'll have a punishment." So it's really kill or be killed or be punished. So, I can say the game is doing this to me, but am I really still choosing this? And then he started kind of reflecting on, every time I get in a group setting, I keep being betrayed. And it could have been like a cool, you know, snap back to like these moments of like betrayal and weakness and feeling um like a group setting is maybe not his place, and that's we could move the story forward that way. But you're right, it just like really went on and on and on and on, and it felt like
Hmm.
a filler instead of something
Hmm.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Maybe this is the turning point where he's thinking, okay, we're gonna take further the name literally and solo level.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
we're doing this myself. All right, that has been.
Um
Oh, yep.
no, sorry, I was just gonna say one other thing. Do you feel like his glowing blue eyes are anything, or is this just a like I'm leveling up thing?
I think it's activating an ability. I think it's
Okay.
when
All
it's
right.
like a dagger ability going, and he's like, that's what I think it is. Yeah,
Sure. Okay.
perception
I was-
check, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because it did seem to like be present in certain panels, but I just was like, I don't know, is it like a power up or is it, yeah,
Hmm.
like you said, like a ability activated? Okay.
Hmm. So that is solo leveling 20 through 24. Keep following along if you are.
Mhm.
Now we're going to get into something hopefully you're all following along with as well. House of the Dragon, episode 6 from
Mhm.
George R. R. Martin and HBO.
Mhm.
This is a big episode.
Mhm.
This is where we got the cast change. Another big time jump, cast
Mhm.
change. Um, a lot riding on this episode. What do you think of it?
Yeah. I first of all, cheers. Cheers. I have to say I was expecting a big time jump, but I wasn't expecting 10 years. That was a lot. That was huge. Um so I feel like knowing that the time jump was 10 years is giving me a little bit of leniency in adjusting to these new versions of the characters because my initial reactions, especially for Rhaenyra, was negative. I mean, not harshly negative, but it tended to be on the negative side because I felt like she was a little bit out of character from what I had just seen her as. And knowing that 10 years had passed could sort of give me allowances for, things that have happened to her, plans that have or haven't worked out. She's been through a lot more than I could probably guess at in a decade. But but I need the next episode then to make me understand how those gaps were filled in her life and why and her motivations and reasonings and things that have been happening to her because this portrayal of Rhaenyra felt shockingly different from younger Rhaenyra and not necessarily in a good way.
Okay.
And I
I
keep saying Rhaenyra because I felt like Allison's character has been simpler than Rhaenyra's. So I felt like I was able to make that transition from young Alicent to older Alicent because there wasn't as much complexity of character to unpack. And I'm not saying like she's simple-minded or anything, but she's just her motivations are just a little bit clearer. They're a little bit more one track. They don't seem to have changed in the 10 years that, we've been away from King's Landing. So I felt like I made that jump easier with her character motivations and therefore with the actress who was playing her.
okay. I don't know why. Because I went from feeling very sympathetic towards Alicent to now in this episode not at all. I went from like you know understanding and empathizing with Alicent's situation and what she's had to go through and her kind of making the best of it and all this stuff to her really taking her father at his word and going at that. Because later I'm starting to get like I feel like I need a reminder why why the strife? I mean, because why
You mean
the
strife between
animosity? Like
Alicent and Rhaenyra?
yeah, the whole thing, like,
Yeah,
she's just so bitter, and
she is. Yeah.
we must you must see what an insult is. It insult to you? What an insult Rhaenyra is has done here to the crown. She doesn't care about that. She doesn't care about the insults to the crown or whatever. She just wants what? She wants her kid to rule. And is it because she's afraid that, you know, King's Landing and Westeros will tear itself apart because there's maybe a queen running things? Is that really her concern? It feels
Mhm.
more personal, and it
Yeah.
feels less like I believed it from her father that he really felt the kingdom would be in peril, and you're going to have trouble if you don't
Right.
succeed in getting your son to take the throne. I
Mm,
don't buy it from her right now. It
I agree.
feels like I don't like Rhaenyra anymore. Look
It
at
feels
all your
petty.
kids; they're all bastards.
Mhm.
All this stuff. And yeah, yeah, petty. She's aligned herself with the person that slept with Rhaenyra and like got his allegiance, which he is like
Yeah.
turned to. Holy
Ooh.
buckets!
Yeah. Holy cow. Alicent and Sir Kristen are a bunch of bitter Bettys that are just like holding on to something from the past that happened 10 years ago, but they won't let it go. And it is
Hmm.
all Rhaenyra's fault. Everything bad is Rhaenyra's fault. And
Yep.
it felt one note and sad. Like, it just
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
you've been holding on to this for like 10 years. Like, let it go. Let it
Hmm.
go.
Yep.
Ugh. I mean,
Enjoy your family, your beautiful
yeah.
children you have. I don't know.
To Alicent?
No, yeah, Allison, yeah,
Yeah.
you got these kids, I'm like, I
Well,
don't know.
yes. Also, maybe like pay better attention to your kids because her firstborn, Aegon, is a little Joffrey in the making. Like,
He
their
doesn't seem
relationship in this
yeah,
episode reminded me so much. It was like Cersei and Joffrey light.
sure.
Like, and I'm not gonna say they're that far gone into like Cersei and Joffrey were cruel people
Right.
by like nature and design and just like reveled in that. Um but in this episode I really felt like Aegon was a little jerk to everybody. He was like a spoiled little entitled brat who was like pretty weak with anybody except like people he felt like he could take on, which is like classic bully characteristic. Like when
Right.
you
Yeah,
know you're
yeah.
bigger and stronger than somebody, like you feel entitled to treat them poorly because you can win.
Right.
Um and Allison's very like blind, we must put you on the throne felt like Cersei's very blind, like even though Joffrey was like demonstrably a horrible little
Yeah,
person, she
right.
was like, "He needs to be on the throne." So that
Right.
relationship felt very reminiscent of that. Like I said, a bit lighter. They don't seem quite as cruel, but they could get there,
Yeah.
clearly. I mean, Alicent's like setting things in motion that she clearly has no idea the ramifications of in this episode, and what a finale she's set in motion here.
Yep. I mean, the kid, shockingly, after he's caught jerking off, is like in the like has the moments of wisdom, really, because she's like, don't you understand the danger or whatever? And he's kind of nonchalant about it. And it's like,
Yeah.
because he's not craving that thing. That's one difference. Joffrey thinks he's
Yes.
entitled to everything and wants that authority and
Right.
power. And he's content at this point to mess around with his siblings and whatever,
Right.
and that kind of thing. So he's not like, let him have it, whatever.
Yeah, I think he's kind of
And
afraid of it, to be honest, like,
maybe,
afraid of,
yeah.
like, being king and having responsibility. And I mean, it could be a very normal, like, I wanna be a kid type of fear, but it could also be like, I shy away from, like, true authority and power kind of, because I am a weak character.
Mhm. I think what this episode needed, to me, was we needed to see. on a larger scale, because I understand it's difficult with how short the season is and how many time jumps we're having and the different characters and now transitioning to their children and all this stuff. I understand it's difficult to juggle all that, but we kind of need to see the other armies, families of the world. We need to have some conversations with these different adults that are like
Yes,
still ready to take the throne or to usurp the Targaryens and stuff should Rhaenyra actually take the throne. They can see that the king's health is failing and he's going
right,
downhill. We need to see the present danger that yet no one is going to accept Rhaenyra
right.
as queen. And without that, this just seems meaningless.
Yes. I completely agree with you. It feels very hollow and empty of a threat without any weight behind it. We need to see more, I think, of court
Yeah.
life.
Yep.
Um, we've caught obviously like sh- the periphery of it when we had like the tournament, when we had the wedding that wasn't. We just had
Yep.
that like welcome feast, and we again saw the people at court and the gossip and the rumors flying. Um, we obviously got Rhaenyra and Damon going down to Flea Bottom and the Street of Silk and like the play that was being put on.
Yep.
So we got like the common folk opinion, but those are like three very brief moments, and only one of them directly addresses how people feel about Rhaenyra taking the throne. We have
Yep.
no idea, like you said, of like the actual like families of nobility, what they would actually do, like,
Hmm.
what exactly, like, the plot would be to remove Rhaenyra or prevent her from taking the throne, or should she do it, then overthrow her and install Aegon on the
Yeah.
throne? We have none of that, so that there's no pressure, there's no threat.
Yep. Because right now the only threat of installing Aegon is from Alicent.
Right.
With just that
Which, I
that
mean,
sort of
is
pressure and stuff, which is
right, by
something.
the
It's
end of the yeah, by the end of the episode becomes more credible, but she's still
yes,
only one person. She doesn't seem to have anybody. I guess Sir Kristen, but again, he's like one man and he's like one Kingsguard from his own admission, a nothing family.
right.
So what would he really do?
She's not. We haven't seen her writing letters to different
Mhm.
families and like all these people on our side, and some of the
She's
all
just,
those other
she's
things
just
we
still
dealt
wearing
with.
green. That's it.
Yeah,
That's her like
yeah,
war declaration. She's still wearing green.
yeah, yeah. That felt a little silly. Um, I don't know, and it's been 10 years, so all those things happened 10 years ago, and
I
I don't know.
mean, part of me gets the like transitional aspect of it, like we end with her in green and we start with
Yes,
her in
right.
green to like make. I get it. I do. Like her kids here, you see Aegon, if you're following along watching with us. Aegon appears with like green under tunic in the training courtyard, again, like, kind of signifying her house and high tower before he's a Targaryen. Um so yeah, so I mean, I get these like symbolic choices, but they still feel hollow without Allison making any actual moves.
Hmm.
And the
Yep.
fact that it's been 10 years without her making any actual moves. I mean, you see this in the plot of the episode. She talks to Viserys about the rumors that are swirling around, but she doesn't even really talk about it. She sort of dances around it and maybe sort of tries to bring it up, but it's very weak. It's she
Yep.
doesn't push him very hard. So to me, the tough part is thinking that it's been 10 years of doing nothing. I could more easily accept it if it'd been 3 years,
Yep.
5 years, just something shorter than a decade. But this feels
Hmm.
drug out.
Now, Rhaenyra does talk about saying
Mm.
people like are, you know, whispering about her, and they're all they all
What
know and or
people?
whatever.
We don't see any
Well, the
evidence of it.
citizens, they're gonna
Well, again, we
know
don't
and stuff.
see it. Like,
Yeah.
there's too much of this, like, talk about it and not enough, like, even just a quick cutscene of, like, a whisper as she passes, or, like, her walking down, like, a corridor of just, like, whispering people and, like, looks and you know what I mean? I just need to feel, like, a presence of it.
Hmm. I thought, what'd you think of her proposal at the council meeting? Is like, look, I thought it
Mm,
was kind of a. I mean, I understand coming from a position where you feel you're in a position of weakness. It doesn't look the
mhm,
same as offering a hand from a position of power, but at the same
right,
time, it seemed like a pretty, as the king said, judicious kind of decision or offer.
right,
And it's really sort of, hey, if you remember, we're part of the same family. We used to even be friends. I felt a lot of tension recently and a lot of
right,
animosity. How about we like remember we're in this together and we'll
right,
have our kids marry and just solidify that, and
right,
like what can go wrong there?
right. Yeah, I liked the essence of this offer. Like you said, it was difficult for me having Rhaenyra come from place of such strength to kind of being introduced to this woman, that's been apparently slowly weakened over the years. Even though we don't like see terribly much evidence of that.
Wait, you think
Um,
Rainier is being weakened? Wait, who? Wait, say this again.
Rhaenyra.
Hmm.
So Rhaenyra is clearly coming at this feeling like she's coming from the weaker position because her offer definitely
Right.
doesn't
Yes.
feel like commanding and like
Right.
the, extended in like a generosity of condescending spirit that where you feel if someone was coming from
Right.
the stronger position. So she does appear to be approaching it from the weaker side of things, but it was hard for me to make that transition, from the last
Mm.
episode
Okay.
where I mean, everything seemed to be going her way and all seemed to be
Right.
going well. And it was hard for me to kind of play catch up that her character felt weak. So that part of it was difficult for me, kind of watching her like be a little stuttery and a little like unsure and sort of be like extending the hand to Alicent. Um, Probably made harder by the fact that, like, I just didn't like Alicent at any point in this episode, so I was like,
Right.
"Ugh, like, don't extend the hand. Don't remind her that she's your friend." But from, like, a very practical standpoint, yeah, all of it seemed to, like, line up. Like, "Let's reunite our houses. Let's marry my son to your daughter." Sure, we skip Aegon. He doesn't seem to want it anyway. So,
Yeah.
like, really, where's the harm in that? Like, your kid still gets on the throne. You'll still be here. You'll still be, in a position of power. Your kids are gonna get dragons, which I'm not really sure how Rhaenyra became like the keeper of the dragons. That wasn't quite explained,
Just
but
as the
clearly she's the one like
Targaryens, yet, yeah.
well, yeah, but I mean, just like you would think Viserys would like that would be one thing he might insist upon for his kids is dragon
Mm.
eggs.
Hmm.
So that just became sort of interesting to me that like Rhaenyra was the one deciding who gets dragon eggs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so it was a logical offer, and I felt like Alicent was very dismissive of it, which serves the plot, but didn't serve, I thought, logical development for their characters.
Yeah. She tells the king, "Do what you want, but I lay cold in my grave."
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Um, got some other characters to talk about, I suppose.
Mhm.
We got the oh, I will say, you know, I'm definitely disappointed in her husband, Rhaenyra's husband,
Laner. Mhm.
because okay, so you don't want to have sex with her doesn't mean that she's not your partner here,
Mhm.
and you wouldn't be invested
Struck a
in being
bargain,
by her
man.
side. You were
Mhm.
you were friends, you know. Now I get it being difficult, like she's always pregnant with another man's children. That's an extra
He doesn't
hardship that you have to sit and like go
he doesn't
through.
wanna have sex with her anyway.
I know, but like this kind of shame and humiliate, like of having to like pretend, and this is my child and stuff.
Yeah.
That's rough.
It's
And if
it's hard for me because on the one hand, like, he agreed to it. On the other hand, I get agreeing something to something in theory and then, like, living through it, and you find the reality quite different.
See, but he to me, the agreement is like, look, we'll be married, we are a couple, we're gonna have kids, you're queen, I'm their king regent or whatever, and or king
But
consort.
she
And
she also says, like, "I know I can't change your appetites with this marriage, so we'll get married, do our duty to the realm, and then, what does she say? Like,
we can like have our dalliances or whatever, or like
yeah,
our
well, she says, like, "I will go dine, and each of us will dine as we see fit."
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, did he really expect to have children with her? Did he want to? Did he try to?
Well, that's what I need answers to. Like,
Yeah, I
because do
agree.
our duty to the realm means
Sounds like have
produce an
kids.
heir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, like, did they try and he couldn't? Did they even
Yes.
try? Did either of them want
That's what
to,
I
or
need to
was it
know.
theirs? Yeah, I completely agree with you because that would flavor their conversation very differently depending on the answers to those questions.
Yeah.
Like, if Leonard
We
didn't
we
even
need
try, but then, like, wants to be a baby about the fact that she has kids with other guys, then, like, sorry.
right.
But, yeah, if he tried and she didn't want to, that would, of course, again, flavor that a different way. If they tried and it didn't work out, are either of them to blame? Because the
We
realm has
need
to have
I need to
heirs.
know that for like 5 years they tried to have babies
Sure,
and that it
sure,
didn't work. And
sure.
then it's
Well,
like, well, what are
and
we
then
gonna
is
do? You
that
know,
anybody's fault?
right. It's not really. Then what do you do? That's the way it is.
Right,
So,
and then
but I
but
need to
then it's
know
like,
that because right now it's like the moment with in Game of Thrones with Marjorie and the other
Tommen?
uh no oh yeah, I forgot about that. No, Renly. Renly Baratheon.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
And it's like, we can get in what's his face to help out because I know, he was at that point,
Yes,
Renly was pretending like, no, I'm not gay. I love
right.
women.
She's like, "No, no,
Give
no,
me
it's
those
okay.
boobs.
You can be in here, get you started."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. So, like, did they do that? Because if
right.
not, this changes a lot because yeah, you're sitting there as the future leader and all three of your kids, both of you have white hair, the other one's darker complexion, and like just no. It's
Mhm.
just it's too much.
It's so hard for me because, like, everybody's so, like, judgmental of Rhaenyra for, like, having these kids with somebody else, and it's just like, oh, but if you only knew that Laena was gay." Like, they both, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like she's betraying him to all outward appearances, but it's like, she's not though, like, he
Right.
not interested,
Oh, for
you
sure.
know? So it's just, like, a shame that they can't just be like, "Listen, yeah, we're married because politics, and we love each other as friends and co-parents, and that's it."
It yeah, co-parents. Um,
I mean, he
yeah,
is, like, their father, and he's supposed to be present in their
right.
lives, but
Mhm.
and I mean, certainly people can, adopt or be step parents and things like that
Oh,
and
yeah.
feel, their
But he
bonus
clearly is not
parents.
doing that.
But yeah, no, he's clearly not doing that, but I don't know.
Um,
Who's again to
I
say he didn't try for the first couple of years and then just, like, find it too hard, or I don't know, maybe he was never
yeah,
interested, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
right. Um, yeah. I don't know. It's there's something else I was gonna say about the actual father then.
Oh, Harwin.
Oh,
Harwin's strong.
well well, just even that this could have all been fixed if long ago when she was told to pick a suitor, to pick someone, she just did. Because clearly now she picked someone. Now she picked someone that she's now had like 4 kids with
Yeah, 3.
or whatever, 3.
Yeah.
And so it's like you could have just tried harder before, couldn't you? Because
Mhm.
now you had to go in a relationship when you were forced into one. You're going to marry this person, and that's what's happening. And there it is. when no
Yeah.
one, so you put yourself in this situation by trying to buck the system and your responsibility for so long. Which, look,
Yep.
I understand, especially for someone that's very young.
Right.
But
Well, and someone
yeah,
who was, like, clearly pissed at her dad for doing the same thing,
yeah.
because she wouldn't have necessarily needed to be in that position had he just, like, sucked it up and married Lena.
Well, well, yes, she wouldn't have necessarily been assigned to another Valerian. Yes,
Right, well, that's what I mean, like,
yes,
she obviously would've
yes.
still had to marry, but she might have felt a little more free to just pick somebody even though he sent her on the tour, but everybody was like, "Should probably, like, redress this thing with the Valerians," which Lionel Strong gave absolutely amazeballs advice about, but yeah, didn't work
Yeah,
out very well.
yeah, yep. Um, So yeah, we can talk about the Strongs a little bit, the Strong
Mhm,
family, because a lot of players here involved. So we've got the real father for one. We've got the hand of the king, Lionel, and then we have the conniving behind the scenes brother
mhm,
um, that
mhm.
really came into play at the end of the episode.
Yeah, yeah. So, yes, we've got Lionel. We've got some very like different characters here. Like Lionel's like clearly like wise, steady, has given like sage counsel over the years. Like Viserys is very reluctant to let go of him when he tries to resign amidst the whisperings, of course, of like Harwin and Rhaenyra and their relationship and him being the father of her kids. Um, so yeah, so he's, given it's clear over the years, like very unbiased advice thus far to the king,
Yep.
and Viserys really values him. Then we have Harwin, unclear exactly how he came to be in the picture and
Yeah.
came to be Rhaenyra's personal guard turned lover turned father of her children. Um, but, I mean, I think we did get a glimpse of him in the very last episode where he was the one picking her up and saving her from the melee during the
Oh.
welcome feast. I think there was
Okay.
just, like, that snap second of him, so maybe, we were supposed to, like,
Okay.
carry on something from that. But yeah, he seems fun, cheeky, good fighter, obviously must be a good lover 'cause, he fathered 3 of her children. Um,
Well, I
Very,
mean,
like, confident.
efficient, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, yeah. I mean, gets the job done. Um, it seems like a fairly confident sort of guy, sure of his position, and unfortunately just like a little blind to the consequences of what's going on and being so free with his actions um and preferences. So yeah, he quickly obviously learns that things can turn for him and for his family. And then yeah, we finally have the younger son, Laris, I think his name is. I think Alan wrote it. Laris Strong, yep.
Yeah.
Who's just been a little snake,
Yep.
little whispering worm in the garden, just spreading rumors, having Allison's ear. She, you know, confides to him and apparently he can make things happen.
Yeah.
Because
He's like
that
the
I gotta say the end of this episode just oof, that was a lot. That was probably the best scene of the episode for me.
yeah, because honestly, this episode, I mean, we start with new recastings. I now some characters that I liked. I'm really not liking them. I'm a little like
Mhm.
needing to be reminded of some motivation. I'm feeling some things that are a little convenient. I think I wrote that. Maybe I didn't write it. Barely wrote anything. Um, I said all seems a bit melodramatic. There was just it felt like a step back in ways, this episode in terms of maturity, and maybe part of that was having the kids involved, just literally
Right.
having kids there. I don't know, but it felt less. the stakes felt lower, it felt less meaningful. It didn't work as well for me until we
Mhm.
got to the end bit here, and where
Yeah.
things started to really hit the fan. Then that kind of pulled me back in.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, really the second half of the episode got increasingly um more consequential for the Strong family. Like I said, like I mentioned before, the whisperings got louder about, Harwin being the father of Rhaenyra's children, and he basically confirmed that by beating Sir Criston Cole to a bloody pulp, in a manner reminiscent of the way Sir Criston did Joffrey, um, when Sir Criston mentioned that, he might have a father's love for Rhaenyra's sons. So then that kind of like forced Lionel's hand into saying, like, I don't know if I can be your hand, to Viserys. Him not accepting that, uh, Lionel proposing like the middle ground of, at least let me take Harwin away. Where I'll basically
Yeah.
banish him to Harrenhal. And Laris just being like, well, Allison doesn't want them here anymore and thinks that they're compromised. I've never particularly liked my family and feel that they're, of no use to me and they look down on me. So, what's the solution? Murder them in their sleep.
Mhm.
Create my
Mhm.
own army of mutes by cutting out their tongues and have them set fire to Harrenhal, so that, my father and brother are burned alive. Um, yeah, this was just like, oh, this whole scene where Laris was explaining to Alicent, like, I heard you and you want your father back, and the Strongs aren't impartial and they can't lead anymore because of all of this happening. So I took care of it. I
Yep.
mean, Laris here in these scenes reminded me of like a creepy predecessor to Varys.
Yeah.
Creating
Yep.
his own little like army of spies and spiders to like flit around the castle and like perform secret things, and um yeah, just kind of like take on some underhanded tasks and whisper secrets.
Yep.
But I liked him less than Varys. Varys didn't feel this evil, probably because we didn't watch him like plot to murder his whole family by burning
Yep.
them alive.
Yep. He's sort of the opposite of Sam from Game of Thrones, where
Yeah. Mhm.
because Sam is like the one that's spit on. He's never been taken seriously. He's not the one, I think not initially set to inherit everything or whatever. He's such an embarrassment. But
He
then
is supposed to
his
inherit, yeah.
he is okay. Like his
Well,
response to
no,
everything
sorry, he
is
does have an older brother. That's my bad, that's my bad.
okay. He does his response instead is like, I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna be a good person yet. He
Mhm,
doesn't take that and make himself bitter and like seek revenge. It's not his like normal thing here. So
mhm,
this reminds me like, okay, this guy is born not physically adept. He's got some sort of malady, and so therefore he's not seen as an equal or whatever, presumably.
mhm.
And so therefore he's gonna take this and be spiteful about it, and
Yeah.
lash out when he gets a chance, and then quite boldly proclaim that he has something over the queen's head, like,
Mhm.
you owe me, you know.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah, he certainly got himself a comfortable little position there. And I mean, whether he truly does or doesn't have something over Alicent, like, she is definitely right now, as I see her, the kind of weak person who would allow him to have something. Even if
yeah,
it's not real, even if he said it out loud and everybody be like, "Whatever, that's not true." She believes in that power he has over her. I think
right,
she's gonna believe it for a long time.
yep. So we should talk about one more thing before we wrap it up, at least, and then of course if there's anything else that you want to talk about. But
Yeah.
Damon, and his
Yes,
whole
of course.
situation. We haven't
Yeah.
talked about that, and
That was a
it's a pretty
lot.
interesting peek into what he's been up to. I liked these moments. I like that it feels like his wife has calmed him some. And this honestly, though they're having disagreements now, this relationship seems to kind of have worked. And he's got these daughters, and though it was a little conflicting, the one daughter seems to suggest that he ignores her, but he seemed quite nice to them, and at the same time, like, you know, got a kiss goodnight and was hanging out with him in the study or something in the library.
Studying Old Valyrian or High
Yeah.
Valyrian, excuse me.
And so I don't know. I kind of, thought, well, it's sort of in a good-ish place here, other than we're kind of a crossroads. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And I certainly didn't expect what was to come then.
Yeah. Uh, I agree with you. I liked this sort of pause for Damon. He was so active the first half of the season, always like plotting, always doing something, always in the middle of something. Like, is he, gaining a kingdom? Is he going to be the heir? Is he not the heir? Like, he just needed this like break, and it felt really natural for his character once he was like finally away, but still doing things that he loved. Like, he was in Pentos, like, he was still fighting, he was still like a dragon rider, but he had his family, he had gold and money and position. He just like had a lot of things that he wanted, and he felt valued. And I think that was really, really important to him. So he just sort of was like, yeah, I mean, there's just so much going on at King's Landing. Like, I'm probably what, like fifth or sixth in line for the throne now. Like, why bother?
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, all of this felt very natural to me. And like I said, it was kind of nice to see his character just like take a beat. Um,
Yep.
I mean, you always knew he was going to return, but it felt like a natural break to start away. And now that this like huge thing has happened to him, where we start off and see his wife Lena pregnant. She wants to return to give birth at Driftmark. That doesn't happen. She kind of like times out. She starts giving birth, but the baby's not coming, and we get this like very tense setup of, is Damon going to repeat the mistake of Viserys and have his wife cut open, um, you know, with or against her will to save the baby, and we sort of like get the build up to that moment, but we never get to see the choice happen because Lena makes her own choice.
Yeah. And I don't. I liked. I liked the opportunity at this scene because it would show growth in Damon and further grayify him. I wanted to see that moment where he's not about to sacrifice his wife.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and we kind of just don't have that. And instead, we cut to all of a sudden she's outside. So I also didn't like the structure of that. It's like, how did you get what? You
No,
had
I
all these
I
people
agree.
around. Where did you just
I know.
go? And like, what?
Who let this like mid labor woman just walk
Yeah.
outside by herself?
So I
I
really
mean,
didn't understand the script of this. Like, that just didn't
yeah. I mean, maybe it
compute.
was a like, the maester was like, I've reached the limits of my ability. Like, the babe isn't coming. Like, maybe they thought like, let her just take a walk, get some fresh air. I don't know, but it felt a little unbelievable that she just
Yeah.
like got outside by herself and got that far where she could have gotten to Vagar, her
Right.
dragon, without anybody noticing. And suddenly, like, yeah, after she's been pleading with him for a while, that Matt Smith like suddenly appears out of nowhere, like, "Oh right, where's my wife? Where'd you get to?"
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, am I missing something here? Like, can we have the thing where you can, they could choose for her to live? The baby will die, but she will live.
That that part was unclear again here.
This is a fatal
The
problem. Like,
Yeah, the guy just said, the babe isn't coming and it's not going to.
right.
So he suggests like we can cut her open to remove it, but he doesn't suggest that like
Well,
she'll be okay if we don't.
Damon asked the follow up that
Yeah,
needed to be asked before in the previous
right.
circumstance. Will she live? He says
Right.
no.
But
Now we're
but
waiting.
does that
And
but
then
does
we're
that mean
outside
wait. Does that mean though, like, will she live if we, like, cut her open, or does that mean will she live
because
at all?
well, the way it was set up was when it was said, "We can put the knife to her," or whatever the
Right.
phrasing was, and then he immediately asked, "Will she live?" And he
That
says,
that but that's
"No."
but that's what I mean, like, if is he asking, "Will she live if we put the knife to her?" Or is he
Yes.
asking in general, like, "Will she live if we don't?"
I can't imagine that because that wouldn't be the question that was asked. That would be
What do you
answering
mean?
the question that wasn't asked. The question that was like, "We could put the knife to her. Will she live?" No. The question is, "Will she
Yeah.
live?" Was the question asked for? Hey, we can cut her open. So it was not like in generic, like he didn't come over and say, "Oh, the baby
So then
won't come out. I don't know what to. I've tried everything. Will she live?" No, that would be different than asking
yes,
first the knife. "Oh, we can cut her open."
right. So, yeah, so, like, to me, I don't like that kind of dialogue because it doesn't make it clear to me if they don't cut her open, is she going to be fine? Like, are they gonna
Right.
figure out a way to get the babe out another
Right.
way, and is the babe just gonna unfortunately have to be a stillbirth?
Right.
Oh god, that feels so, like, light to say that when I know it's, like,
Right.
such a traumatic thing, but it's really difficult for me because the show just doesn't make a lot of these options surrounding these difficult births very clear.
Right.
They don't give a lot of clarity on, like, mom's status,
Hmm.
whether or not they do, like, cutting her open and basically do, like, an old-time C-section. Like, is this necessary? Like, will the mom live without it? Like, in both Emma and Lena's situation, to me, it's just super unclear the true choice that either Viserys or Damon are making, or
Yep.
or in Damon's case, don't get to make, or and are just considering because we never see what he would respond.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like the fact that I mean, I like the way that this ended in terms of Lena choosing her own fate, because that was
Hmm.
very important to her, and that was set up early on. Like, I want to die a dragon rider, and this was like the best that she could do. She felt, this obviously wasn't her idea of what she wanted to happen, but it was still better, she thought, than the alternative. So I liked that she got to choose, but yes, it was highly implausible on a practical scale.
Yep. Yep. Weakest episode of the series so far. That's
I agree. There were cool things. I loved that dragons were back. We got to see all the children kind of like getting their own dragons, bonding with their dragons. We got a lot of different like names coming up. We saw Caraxes back. We saw Vagar, who's like the oldest dragon, and I think the largest at the time. Not the largest ever, but is the largest at the time. So we really got, and we see Damon and Lena's daughter is trying to hatch a dragon egg as well. So we really got that, like, we're getting back into that kind of piece of the show, which I felt had been missing.
sure.
And was excited to see back this episode.
Well, I hope it's sort of a transition episode, and next week we have a little cleaner script, a little renewal of motivations, and yeah,
Yeah.
we
One
can
thing one
finish
thing I
strong.
do yeah, I do want to say that, like we said, the episode closed out really strong. I loved the whole like plot that Laris set up. It was dark and twisty and sick, but it was gripping. It was just as he was like making it unfold and talking about it. Oh, it was the point at the show when I was just like most enthralled, and I loved that this was the backstory to the cursed ruin that is Harrenhal Castle,
Yes.
that is talked about often in Game of Thrones. This was
Yep.
just like a horribly creepy, well executed backstory. So well done for that.
Yep. All right, that's been House of the Dragon, episode
Mhm.
6. I think we got 2 more left, I believe.
Mhm.
So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, this has been Popcast on the Rocks, episode 121. We're here weekly. Be sure to follow us here on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, like things,
Mhm.
comment, all that sort of thing, share, whatever. If you're on a podcast directory, please leave a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, we often have polls and stuff. So please answer those or answer the question. You can watch the video on there as well if you'd like. Killing the Flower, they're responsible for our theme song. So give them a look on Instagram, Spotify, or YouTube. And think that'll about cover it. So everybody, thanks for joining us. And Andrea, thanks for joining me once again.
Of course. As always, cheers, everybody.